Hi, and welcome to the Jones Equine YouTube channel, where I am sharing horsemanship tips and tricks and all the things that I know about riding and training horses from my last 20 plus years of riding and showing. Um, this year was my first year going to the Versatility Ranch Horse World Show, and I thought that it may provide some motivation and some inspiration for those of you who have maybe not gone, or if you do go and maybe it didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to, uh, a bit of encouragement for you because the first time for us going there didn't turn out as good as I wanted it to turn out. But that doesn't mean that it was a lost cause or anything. There was a lot of lessons learned and a lot of places to improve. And if nothing else, just keep in mind when you go to shows, it's a test of how broke your horse is. Um, and your faults and flaws and things that you need to work on are all going to come out in the show ring. And take it as like data collection to help you go home and do some homework. And also, sometimes it's just the luck of the draw and the day. Like, I've had some days where at home the horse does really great, and then some days at home the Huck doesn't do quite as well. I've also had some shows where I hardly did any prep and he was awesome. And then some shows like this world show, I had ridden this horse every day for like 6 months and it still didn't turn out the way that had hoped it would. That being said, there is some pretty stiff competition here. It's a lot of really good riders in the open division. So we had our work cut out for us, and I'm still, despite all of that, still very happy with the way things turned out in terms of it being Huck's first show. He at that point only had 6 months of training on him total in his life, so he's still very green and not seasoned as a show horse at all. And I have some rust to kick off of myself as well. The last few years I spent having kids and raising my babies, so there was some time off for me as well, and coming back from a pretty major injury as well. So here we are sharing these classes, how they went. I'll put the pattern up for the class, and then I'll share the pattern, and I'm going to record a voiceover and try to share my emotions as I was going through the ring the best that I can remember them, so that it can help you kind of think about and talk through the things that may be helpful to you as you go into the ring and show yourself. Enjoy. So I'm going to do this as blind reaction as I can. Um, when I first saw this pattern, I was kind of excited about it. I like this pattern, pretty basic reining pattern. But I learned something to watch out for in terms of a pattern that has rundowns and then spins. That's a difficult thing for a young horse to do, and I did not know that. So here we go. I was kind of frazzled coming into the ring. I did not even know if my horse was going to take these lead changes because we had worked on them so much and they still weren't very consistent at home. So as I was going into the ring and loping circles, I was like, God, if we just get the lead changes, I am fine. That is my one goal for today. Not that I didn't focus on the other stuff. I was just more focused on making sure that I was as clear and relaxed as I possibly could for delivering those lead changes. That one was beautiful. It felt so good. And I cannot tell you guys, I cried. Like I was tearing up in the ring. God, it just, recalling it. Oh, getting emotional. Recalling it now, how good that felt. And then coming around on the second Lead change here, same thing, beautiful change. I just could not believe that we had nailed both of those. I was trying to keep my composure for the rest of it, but then there's also this side of me that was like, it, like I got the changes, this is awesome. Huck has always been good about his stops, so when he came down and hit those stops, I was pretty excited. Spins need some work. When you run down and you hit a stop and you go full force, it is hard for a horse to collect themselves, to be thoughtful about their spins. And spins have always been a very difficult for him anyways, because he's pretty sucked back and it's hard for him to step forward in that turn. So that was, I got knocked the hardest on my spins first on the scorecard, and it's obvious when you watch this video. He's pretty sucked back. He's not staying in one spot. He's not planting that foot. He's kind of doing the pinwheel thing. Those are all things we've worked about on since we came home. But love these rundowns. God, he's running straight, running hard. He hits the stops as soon as I tell him. The first stop was maybe not my favorite because he walked out of it a little bit. So then on the second stop, I just used a little bit more hand to make sure I stopped those front feet after he was sliding into it. And then that was it was done and over with. Like those classes, they go so stinking fast. Watching it here, I'm like, holy cow, that was nothing. But when you're in the arena, it reminds me of the chipmunk off of that one cartoon where he goes into warp speed, because it's like in reality things are going so fast, and then when you're in the show ring, I feel like you're in warp speed because you're going so fast that it seems like things are slowing down and they're a big deal, but sometimes they're not as big of a deal as they feel like when you're in the ring. There was several, like on a lot of these circles, I was pretty sure that I screwed them up. And looking at the scorecards, they weren't terrible. Because I thought they were kind of like lopsided, and it felt like I really had to help him through, like guide him through those circles. But really, that wasn't my biggest hit on the scorecard. It was definitely the spins that knocked me down. So just some perspective on when you go in there, take a deep breath and just ride your horse. We tend to get like over analytical. I am a super competitive person to begin with, and it's one of those things that you have to try to gauge your expectations and perspective when you're in there. Yes, you want to be competitive, but I mean, you're only going to rise to how broke your horse is, and they all have their days too. So take it with a grain of salt, and look at your scorecards to find out what you need to work on, and go home and do some homework and get ready for the next one. All right, if you found this little video helpful to you or entertaining, make sure that you give me a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting more. If you like it, then I know to post more of these show videos. I'm happy to do that. And go through kind of the raw emotions and the hiccups and how to look at some of this stuff as you go back and review your own footage. I am a horse show judge as well, so when I look at these things, I use my judging eyes to be able to evaluate the way that I did things, and then also compare it to what I saw on the scorecard. So those are some things that I'd be happy to discuss. And so to find more of the World Show videos, check out this top playlist, and if you need help with just riding in general and some tips on making your riding and horsemanship better, check out this bottom playlist here, and we'll see you in the next video.